Good morning, it's Washday today, and no, it's not Monday. That's what happened in the olden days. There was one day for the washing, and back in the day it took the poor women a whole day to do the washing. I think maybe on a Sunday they soaked some of the dirtier items and then they had to boil up the water in a separate boiler. And then sometimes you'd have a dolly, this big wooden pole thing with sort of fingers on it, you know, and you'd pummel the clothes and the sheets, whatever, in a big wash tub. And then sometimes you'd use a washboard that now people started to use as a musical instrument after a while, didn't they? When people didn't need the washboards for scrubbing and rubbing the stains off the collars. Did they used to put thimbles? I think used to see people put thimbles on their fingers and then the washboard became a musical instrument. I wonder if you can still buy washboards. Well, you can probably get a second-hand one on eBay. I'm just thinking, can you buy a new washboard? There's not much call for that sort of thing these days with automatic washing machines. People don't know they're born, you know. I still can't believe the comments I get. One of my most popular videos on my other channel is for one of those plastic twin tubs, those cheap Chinese made twin tubs. And, you know, they're ideal for caravanning, they're ideal for motorhome, or if you live in student accommodation or a rented flat and you can't plumb in a washing machine, it just saves you going to the laundrette. And they'll just, you know, fit in a corner somewhere. But you have to, you know, there's a bit of work involved with a twin tub. You've got to obviously fill it yourself, put some detergent in, put the clothes in, set the timer, then transfer the clothes into the spinner, give it a bit of a spin, then start to rinse. So it's a bit involved, but I can tell you it's a lot easier than trying to hand wash your clothes and wring them out. And I had to do that once when I didn't have a spare washing machine. It was a Bosch machine I had. It went wrong, and while we were waiting for that to either be replaced or repaired, I can't remember, there was no option for me at the time but to wash stuff in the bath. And the number of comments that, I don't know, is it just because people are lazy? I'm not sure, but the number of comments I got saying, oh, it's too much trouble. You know, it is trouble compared to what I'm just doing now. I mean, I've put everything, I'm doing a delicate wash. It's all, well, it's wool or acrylic or a mixture. Made in China. Fat face. Wash at 30. Think of the environment. I think I might be washing at 30 for these anyway, or probably 40. If I can wash at 40, I'm going to wash at 40. But it might say 30 on this. Oh, this is a big mix. Acrylic, nylon, polyester, only 5% wool. Whew. Anyway. I'm just doing all my woolly pulleys today, and they can't go in the tumble dryer, so I'm going to have to put them on my clothes horse. Right, so I just need to add some fabric softener. I like this stuff. It's by Wilton, London. I have been using others. I mean, I've used this, and I use the I can't remember what it is now. I bought bottles of it. Some eco stuff. I showed you, I did a shopping haul from some Yorkshire Trading. Oh no, I don't know where. It might have been Yorkshire Trading. Or another, no it wasn't, it was another budget online shopping doodah. So I use that alternately. But this Wilton, this is one of the fragrances. It's a manly smell. If you don't like flowery fabric softeners, this is cedarwood. And it is, I would say it's a man's fabric softener, but it is nice. Smells nice. I obviously, when I'm washing my bedding, I have a bit of that. All the fleece covers that we have to put on the sofas and things, I wash with this Wilton. So it gives you 40 washes. It's not cheap. I only buy it when it's on offer. But yeah, you do get 40 washes as long as you only use one little capful. Right, so we'll select the programme, and I think I'll make my first and only cup of coffee of the day. If my face looks a bit red and shiny in this video, it's because I've just had a shower and I've applied all my lotions and potions. I do it twice a day and I don't think I look bad for 70. Do you? No? Right, just having Millicano, just having black coffee because that doesn't break my fast. Still doing the old OMAD diet. It's only week 2, but I'm used to it. Even after a week. I mean, I have done it on and off, so it's not like completely unknown to me. But yes, yesterday, I think it was after 3 p.m. when I thought I need to eat now. But I kept myself quite busy yesterday making a video for my other channel. Plus I think, oh yeah, plus one for this channel as well, which you'll have seen. So yeah, I was fairly productive yesterday. Fairly. Mark's working from home today, so he's just upstairs. So if you can hear any voices in the background, sort of muffled voices, it's Mark. So that's all I'll be having, this black coffee. And then deciding what to eat. But I want something for pudding. I do have some yoghurt and some pineapple, which I'm eating up. And it's Easy-O yogurt. I'll have to do a video on Easy-O yogurt. That'll make a nice little video, a standalone. So I've got tons of Easy-O yogurt, which takes around 8 to 12 hours to make. Obviously I don't have to stand at it for 8 to 12 hours. It takes 3 minutes to prepare, then you wait 8 to 12 hours. I'll explain that in a video. So anyway, I've got some nice pineapple and coconut yogurt, because it's got little coconut pieces in it, well, tiny bits of coconut. So I've been having that, I'm using up my tinned fruits, so I've got some pineapple chunks. So I had that, but I also like to sometimes, especially when I'm only eating one meal and one pudding a day, and no snacks, I'm not eating anything, a substantial meal, well not really substantial, just a normal sort of meal that I would normally eat, but I do like a pudding. I'm not going to deprive myself completely. So I just had yogurt with the fruit and it was alright, but it was lacking. I like a bit of sponge cake with it, especially with fruit, the fruit juice from the tinned fruit. I like to soak the sponge a bit and then I put the fruit on and then some of my Easy-O yogurt, and it's a lovely pudding. It does get a bit samey though, if I have it all the time, because I have got probably 50, I've probably got 50 packs of Easy-O yogurt. I bought loads when it was on offer. It does keep though. So, oh yes, so today, this is what I'm talking about, yeah. Now, I didn't film it. I had a disaster with a regular sponge cake. I just made a Victoria sponge from the Biro book. But instead of margarine, as the recipe called for, I used butter, because I'm trying to avoid seed oils as much as I can. But I don't know why. I don't know if it's the flour had gone off, or it could be because the eggs are supposed to be at room temperature and the butter wasn't soft enough. I did leave it out for a while. I measured out the butter, chopped it into little cubes and left it for a while before I added the sugar and put it in my Kenwood. But I think the butter was too cold. So when you get to the stage, when you cream butter and sugar together, it says cream until light and fluffy. Well, it was never light and fluffy. So, and then I added the flour, which I sifted, and so all it is 100 grams of castor, 100 grams of butter or margarine, 100 grams of self-raising flour, and 2 eggs. I think that was all. Anyway, they were like, it was like too big. It was more like Jaffa cake, Jaffa cake sponge. It was that thin. Anyway, I still ate. It tasted all right, but it didn't have any air in it. Anyway, I've got one of these left. Jane Asher, bless her. She was famous. Well, she's an actress, but she did do a bit of cake making back in the day. So these are available from Home Bargains. I think there's a range of baking utensils and things as well you can buy from Home Bargains, and this is where I got this from. Serves 8, just add eggs, oil and butter. Now the butter is for the buttercream, which I might not make, but you see, I won't buy any more of these cake mixes. I'm going to make my own. It's got rapeseed oil in. It's the seed oil I'm trying to avoid. You can't if you buy anything pre-packed. So I need 3 medium eggs, which I've got, 100 ml of veg oil and 50 grams of soft butter, and it makes, oh yeah, this is why I didn't do it. It makes one 18 to 20 centimetre cake, 7 to 8 inches. I think I've got a bigger cake tin, I'm not sure. Normally when I make a cake, I use 2 sandwich tins, but this just makes 1, because yeah, it's not a sandwich, you don't split it. I'll see, I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to make that later today. I'll probably show you a bit of the baking process. I mean, it's a cheat, but at least I think this, it will rise, and it's something else out the cupboard. I just want to use it up. I'm trying to use stuff up at the moment instead of buying new things. So that's where I'm using this up, and I'm also want to use up my home baking stuff before I buy any more, because you know, things, especially flour, I've got them in airtight containers, but they don't last forever. So after my coffee, I'm going to grease my tin, and we'll make this Jane Asher carrot cake. My washing is finished and it's time to make my cake. So here's the cake mix, and to that I need to add 3 eggs. I'm not going to beat them. I'm sure the mixer will do that for me. And instead of 100 ml of the oil that the recipe asked for, well, the box asked for, I've got 100 ml of melted butter. I didn't realise, I didn't know if it'd work, but my scales can actually measure in millilitres. So all I did was I got the butter that was fairly soft, I'd left it out of the fridge for a while, put my jug on the scale, zeroed it, measured it in mil, and it actually worked. So that's good. So I'll pour that in, but the other liquid I need to add is a little bit of water, and that's 75 mils of cold water. I've greased and lined my pan. It is the right size according to the recipe, but I'm not sure if it's deep enough. I think they class this as a sandwich pan, so we'll see how it goes. I've no other pan I can use, well, only one that's much too big. So I'm going to use my Bosch mixer today. I'm not bothering with the big Kenwood. I've got this, I've had it years and years, this little hand mixer, because this isn't going to be, this will be more of a batter that I can pour, I think, rather than a mix you have to spoon in. So a minute or 2 should suffice. Start off slow. Okay, let's transfer the mix into the cake tin. Well, that certainly looks a better consistency than the last cake I made, but I don't know if this dish is a bit shallow. That's the only trouble. We'll find out when it's cooked. I'm hoping it'll just rise above the edge of the pan. That's a lot of mixture. I've got it all over my jumper. Oh dear. Glad you can't see that. It's got a nice, not spicy. What's the word I'm thinking of? Not spicy. I don't know. There's a nice smell to it. Nutmeggy, cinnamony. I'm not sure. I can see little bits of carrot in this. Now, unlike if I was making this myself from scratch with my own ingredients, I might have some raw ingredients, you know, have a lick the bowl, so to speak, or the beaters, as we used to do when Mother was baking. We used to hang around and get to scrape out the bowl, even it out as much as possible, and that will go into a preheated oven. This goes into the oven, gas mark 4 or 180 degrees for electric, It's also got 160, which I've put my oven at because I assume the 160 is for a fan oven. And you need to bake that for 30 to 35 minutes. So let's pop it in. Centre of the oven. I'm going to put it for 30 minutes and then check it. Might have to go back in for a little bit longer. Well, after the cake making, the inevitable clean up has to happen, but fortunately all this is going in the dishwasher. But the dishwasher is full. Again, it's always full, so I'm going to have to empty the dishwasher before I can put the dirty things in. My jumpers have finished washing, so let's get those out. Don't know if, no, I won't spin them again. You're not really supposed to spin these sort of things for too long. They are quite damp, but they'll do. I don't want to overspin. Some of these are acrylic. These ones are. I don't put them on woolens because the drum hardly moves on the woolens program. So I do them on delicates, and they've always come out fine. They smell of that lovely fabric softener. Right, I'll have to get my clothes horse out, put those on, and we'll wait for the cake to bake. Ooh, no, that's not cooked. At least another 5 minutes. Well, the knife's coming out clean, so I think that's done. So that's the cake done. It's not too bad. It does look dark, but it is a carrot cake. It is supposed to be this colour. And in this bowl here, folks, I've got 50 grams of butter, which I've sort of diced up, and I'm just leaving that out to soften up a bit. And then here we've got the icing mix. So as soon as this is cold, I'm going to mix up the icing and spread it on the top of Jane Asher's cake. Okie dokie, it's time to make the topping. So I've got the butter, be fairly soft now. It's been out in the fridge for quite some time. So I'm just going to gradually add the icing sugar. Do it slowly. It goes everywhere. Oh, I need something to stop the bowl from moving. It's oh no, I've broken my fast. I've had a mouthful of icing sugar. Let's put some in like that. It's going to go everywhere, isn't it? It always does. Even on low speed. Oh, heck. Oh. I'm gonna have to do that somehow by hand until I can taste the icing sugar. Oh, it's all over me. Just mix it by hand initially, so most of the icing sugar is incorporated into the butter like that. Then we're not going to get the clouds, are we, of icing sugar everywhere. So when it gets to about this consistency, I think it's safe now to put the mixer in on low and then speed it up for a minute or two. I think it's a bit stingy on the buttercream, but anyway, we'll spread out as much as we can. I was just thinking, if I'm going to do these cakes more often, I need to buy myself a palette knife. And then remembering what I normally do is buy things that I've already got. I thought, no, before you buy a palette knife, Roger, you have probably bought one. And yes, I have bought one. Oh dear, that's not going to... It's going to be a very thin, wafer thin covering of buttercream on this. I mean, I don't like a huge amount of buttercream. Could do with a little bit more, maybe 75 grams. But I have to go by the box, don't I? The instructions. Can't go against what Jane Asher says, but yeah, that's quite a thin, going to be quite a thin layer of buttercream. Oh, I made a bit of a cock up there. A bit of a cock up on the catering front. Double points for any of you watching. If you can, in the comments, can you tell me where the line a bit of a cock up on the catering front comes from? What sitcom? I'll give you another clue. It's a 70s sitcom, and it was a sort of a catchphrase from one of the characters in that sitcom. There's been a cock up on the catering front. Who used to say that? Double points if you can tell me the character's name, and even more points if you can tell me the name of the sitcom. Right, that'll have to do. I mean, it's not... It is, yeah, it's a bit stingy of Jane Asher, I feel. I think she could have put a little bit more icing sugar in and said 75 grams of butter for the buttercream, but you know, it'll do. I'm not cutting it yet. I might at the end of the video show you a piece cut just before I eat it, but obviously I'm not going to be tempted. I mean, I would love to have a big slice of this now, but because of my OMAD diet, my one meal a day, I'm not going to. Anyway, it's certainly more successful than the last cake I made. It's a good job I didn't film that. So there you go, folks. Jane Asher's carrot cake from her carrot cake mix, available from Home Bargains, but of course other supermarkets will sell their own carrot cake mix. I'm sure they're all much the same, or even better. Make a carrot cake from scratch and actually put grated carrot in it. So there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed today's video. A mixture of washing and baking. I'll be a 50s housewife before you know it. If only. Oh, those 50s housewives had it cushy, didn't they? Husband going out to work all day, earning all the money, giving wifey money to spend, while she just danced around her 50s home with a feather duster, baking cakes and looking after her man and her children, and possibly the family beagle. But I suppose that's a romanticised view of a British housewife, all bright colours and wiped clean Formica. I'm sure it wasn't like that for most housewives in 1950s Britain, but that was the image we got to see at the cinema and sometimes on the TV. Housewives dancing around, flicking their feather dusters and using all the latest labour-saving appliances. There's one video I'll recommend, and if I can find it, I'll put a link to it below. It's not my video and it's pretty poor quality, but it's featuring Katie Boyle. You might know who she is. She's no longer with us, and she's playing, I don't know if it is the 50s, it might be, I think it's probably early 60s, this particular video, but it's very good. I can't get enough of it. It's basically, she hurts her wrist and doctor calls, you know, the doctor actually comes to the house, calls around, and she's advised to, you know, he puts a little sling on it and she's advised to rest. But all her nosy neighbours wonder what's been going on, so they come round one by one. They see that she can't do any housework with only one arm, you know, so they all bring round their Hoover products to help her with housework. So if you like that sort of, if you like old appliances and you like especially Hoover stuff, but you just like that era, watch the video. If I remember, I will put the link below. So I think it's called Domestic Bliss, if I don't put the link. Domestic Bliss. But that's it. That's it for my domestic bliss. And I'll see you all for the next video. Bye for now.